Right now, somewhere in your office building, two people are sitting at nearly identical desks with nearly identical job titles, earning nearly identical salaries. They were hired the same year. They both show up on time. They both work hard. But in 3 years, one of them will be sitting in a corner office with a significant raise, a leadership title, and a career trajectory that seems almost unfair. The other will still be in that same chair wondering why the promotion keeps going to someone else. The difference between these two people has almost nothing to do with raw intelligence, credentials, or even talent. It has everything to do with how they each choose to spend the 24 hours they are both equally given every single day. This is not a motivational speech. This is a precise, practical breakdown of the daily architecture that separates professionals who quietly rise through the ranks from those who work incredibly hard and somehow stay exactly where they are. We are going to dismantle the corporate myths that are silently killing your advancement, and we are going to build a daily framework that makes your promotion not just possible, but inevitable. Oridiwan, the invisible ceiling. Nobody talks about most professionals who feel stuck in their careers are stuck for one reason they cannot clearly name. They are excellent at their jobs. They arrive early, they volunteer for projects, they say yes to every request. They are reliable, likable, and competent. And yet the promotions keep going to someone else, and they cannot figure out why. Here is the brutal truth that most managers will never tell you directly. Reliability is not a promotion criteria. It is a baseline expectation. When your manager looks at your desk and sees someone who answers every email within minutes, attends every meeting with a smile, and never misses a deadline, they see something valuable. They see someone they cannot afford to move. You have made yourself indispensable to the machine at your current level, which ironically becomes the very thing preventing you from rising above it. The professionals who get promoted consistently are not the ones who do their current job flawlessly. They are the ones who visibly demonstrate they are already capable of operating at the next level. They think differently, communicate differently, and spend their time differently. And that difference begins not at the office but the moment they wake up in the morning. On why your morning is a career asset. The modern corporate professional wakes up and immediately makes a catastrophic mistake. Before both feet are even on the floor, they reach for their phone. Within 30 seconds, they are reading a stressful email from a client, reacting to a group chat notification, and scanning the news for the latest crisis. By the time they arrive at the office, their nervous system is already in a state of low-grade emergency. When you begin your day in reaction mode, you have already surrendered the most cognitively powerful hours of your professional life to other people's agendas. The research on cognitive performance is unambiguous. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for strategic thinking, complex problem-solving, and high-level judgment, operates at peak capacity in the early morning hours before the accumulated stress of the day begins to erode its function. Every minute you spend reacting to your inbox in those early hours is a minute of irreplaceable strategic intelligence that you are giving away for free. High-performing professionals understand this at an almost instinctive level. They protect the first hour of their morning the way a hedge fund manager protects their highest-performing asset. They wake up 30 to 45 minutes earlier than strictly necessary, not to grind through more work, but to create an intentional psychological buffer between sleep and the battlefield of the corporate environment. During this window, they do not check email. They do not open Slack. They do not scroll LinkedIn for dopamine hits disguised as professional development. Instead, they do something that looks deceptively simple. They think. They sit with a cup of coffee and they ask themselves one single question. What is the one thing I can accomplish today that would make the biggest visible difference to my team, my manager, or my organization? Not 20 things. One thing. The single most strategically valuable contribution they can make today. That question sets the entire trajectory of the day. It is the difference between arriving at work as a passenger and arriving as someone with a destination. The reactive trap that kills careers. Here is a scenario that plays out in virtually every corporate office on Earth, every single morning. A talented professional sits down at their desk, opens their email, and spends the first 90 minutes of their workday responding to messages, answering quick questions, and handling minor administrative requests. By 10 o'clock, they have cleared their inbox. They feel productive. They feel like a team player. But here is what actually happened. In those 90 minutes, they completed zero work that a promotion committee would ever care about. They moved information from one inbox to another. They confirmed meeting times. They clarified minor misunderstandings. They performed the digital equivalent of rearranging furniture in a burning building. Psychologists call this the urgency trap. The corporate environment is saturated with tasks that feel urgent and are actually unimportant. Responding to every message instantly, attending every meeting and being available for every interruption, creates the appearance of productivity while consuming the exact hours you need for the work that actually advances your career. The professionals who rise fastest understand the difference between what is urgent and what is important. Urgent tasks demand your immediate attention. Important tasks build your long-term value. The brutal paradox of corporate life is that urgent tasks are almost always someone else's priorities wearing a costume of emergency. Important tasks are almost always your own strategic priorities that carry no deadline pressure, no flashing notification, and no external urgency, which is precisely why they get perpetually postponed by reactive workers. If you want to become someone that the organization recognizes as high potential, you must ruthlessly protect a portion of every single workday for important work. Not urgent work. Important work. The strategic report that nobody asked for but everyone will remember. The skill you are building that will make you irreplaceable in 12 months. The relationship you are cultivating with a senior leader who can champion your advancement. These things will never ping your phone. They will never fill your inbox with reminders. They require you to deliberately choose them over the noise. Blank's deep work is your unfair advantage. There is a capability that has become extraordinarily rare in modern corporate environments, and because it is rare, it is extraordinarily valuable. That capability is deep, sustained, uninterrupted focus on a single complex problem. Most professionals today are cognitively fragmented. Their attention is pulled in 17 directions simultaneously. They have their email open, their messaging app blinking, their phone face up on the desk, and 3 browser tabs competing for their eyes. In this state, they are capable of a tremendous volume of activity, but they are almost completely incapable of the quality of thinking that organizations pay significant premiums for. The highest compensated professionals in any industry are not paid for their ability to process high volumes of routine tasks at speed. They are paid for their ability to solve problems that their fragmented, distracted colleagues simply cannot crack. They are paid for strategic insight, creative synthesis, and the kind of nuanced judgment that only emerges from sustained, deep concentration. Here is how you build that capability in a corporate environment that seems architecturally designed to destroy it. You schedule what high-performance researchers call focus blocks. These are non-negotiable 90-minute windows during which you are completely unreachable and entirely devoted to a single high-value task. You close your email application entirely, not minimize it, close it. You set your messaging status to Do Not Disturb. You put your phone in your desk drawer. You put on noise-canceling headphones as a signal to colleagues that you are in a concentration window. Then you work, not quickly, not frantically, slowly, methodically, and with complete attention on the single most important problem in front of you. The first few times you do this, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain has been conditioned to expect a dopamine reward every few minutes in the form of a notification, a message, or a new email. When those rewards disappear, your mind will generate an almost physical urge to check something, anything. You must sit through that discomfort. That discomfort is the feeling of building something rare. After 3 or 4 weeks of consistent focus blocks, something remarkable begins to happen. Your output quality becomes visibly superior to your colleagues. Your analysis is sharper. Your proposals are more compelling. Your problem solving is more original. You begin to produce the kind of work that gets remembered in performance reviews, not because you worked more hours, but because you protected the right hours. The corporate relationship. Most professionals ignore. There is a quiet skill that separates fast-tracked professionals from perpetually overlooked ones, and almost nobody talks about it directly because it feels uncomfortable to acknowledge. That skill is strategic visibility. Working hard in isolation is not enough. In every corporate hierarchy, advancement is a social process as much as a meritocratic one. Your work must be seen by the people who make decisions about your future. This does not mean self-promotion in its crass, exhausting form. It means being intentional about where your attention and energy creates visible impact. High-performing professionals identify the 2 or 3 leaders in their organization whose opinion of their work most directly influences their career trajectory. Then they make deliberate, consistent choices to contribute in ways those specific people notice. They ask thoughtful questions in meetings rather than staying silent. They send concise, insightful updates on projects rather than waiting to be asked. They volunteer for the high-visibility problems that other people avoid because they are difficult and uncertain. This requires something that the reactive, distracted professional never has enough of: time and mental clarity to think strategically about their career rather than just surviving the week. Your morning intention setting practice is where this strategic thinking lives. Before the urgent noise of the day drowns out your own priorities, you spend a few quiet minutes asking not just what needs to be done today, but who needs to see it done and how you can ensure the value of your contribution is unmistakably clear. You're the afternoon that most professionals waste. Every corporate professional experiences the 2:30 slump. It is not a character flaw, and it is not laziness. It is basic human biology. Your cortisol levels naturally decline in the early afternoon, your core body temperature dips, and your alertness measurably decreases. Trying to force deep strategic work during this window is like trying to sprint with your shoes tied together. Smart professionals do not fight this biological reality. They work with it. The mid-afternoon is the ideal window for the tasks that require less cognitive intensity, but still contribute to career advancement. This is the time for collaborative work, relationship building, and administrative tasks that must get done but do not require your peak cognitive resources. Have the one-on-one conversation with your manager. Attend the team brainstorming session. Handle the emails that actually require a response. Organize your files. Prepare the agenda for tomorrow's meeting. These tasks align perfectly with the natural dip in your concentration capacity, and completing them in the afternoon protects your morning hours for the deep work that truly moves your career forward. There is also a frequently overlooked practice that the most promotable professionals use in the late afternoon. Before leaving for the day, they spend 10 minutes reviewing what they accomplished against their single morning intention, and they make one small, concrete decision about tomorrow. Not a long list. One decision. What is the most strategically valuable thing I will do first tomorrow morning? This 10-minute debrief creates a psychological closure that most corporate workers never experience. Instead of carrying the unfinished weight of the day into the evening, they have consciously acknowledged what was completed and deliberately set the direction for the next morning. The workday has a clean ending, which makes everything that follows it vastly more restorative. The evening decisions that determine your promotion timeline. The professionals who rise fastest in organizations are not the ones who grind the longest hours. They are the ones who show up every morning with a recovered, sharp, strategically oriented mind. And the quality of your mind at 8 o'clock in the morning is almost entirely determined by the decisions you make at 8 o'clock the night before. The most damaging habit in the modern professional's evening is not laziness. It is digital leakage. It is the pattern of technically finishing work, walking through the front door, sitting on the couch, and then spending the next 3 hours with your phone in your hand, half watching television while one eye drifts to your work email. You are not resting. Your nervous system is still processing work stimuli. Your brain is still on alert for the next professional threat. You are simply performing the appearance of rest while actually denying your body and mind the biological recovery they need to perform at a high level tomorrow. There is a clean, simple solution to this, and it requires no special technology or elaborate routine. You create a hard physical boundary between your workday and your evening. When you arrive home, your laptop goes in your bag and the bag goes in a specific place, away from your living area. Your work phone goes on its charger in a room you do not spend your evening in. You change your clothes, which is a powerful physical signal to your nervous system that a role transition has occurred. For the first hour after this transition, you engage with your home environment in a way that is genuinely incompatible with work thinking. You cook a meal. You have a real conversation with the people you live with. You take a walk outside in natural light. You exercise. You read something that has nothing to do with your industry. These activities are not frivolous. They are performing active neurological recovery, flushing the accumulated cortisol of the workday, and allowing your subconscious mind to quietly process and consolidate the information it absorbed throughout the day. After this recovery hour, many high-performing professionals do engage in 1 to 2 hours of what might be called strategic personal development. This is not answering work emails. This is the reading, learning, or reflection that feeds long-term professional growth without activating the stress response of the workday. A book on leadership psychology, a case study in your industry, a certification module in a skill that will make you significantly more valuable in 18 months. This is the quiet compounding work that your promoted colleagues are doing, while their peers are passively consuming content that adds nothing to their professional trajectory. Learns here sleep as a career strategy. Nothing destroys a career more slowly and more invisibly than chronic sleep deprivation. Not dramatic failures, not public conflicts with leadership. The quiet, compounding erosion of judgment, emotional regulation, and strategic thinking that comes from consistently sleeping 6 hours when your biology requires 8. When you are sleep deprived, you do not feel incompetent. You feel busy and productive. But your brain's capacity for the exact qualities that get people promoted has been measurably impaired. Your emotional reactivity increases sharply, meaning you are more likely to respond defensively in meetings, less likely to listen generously in difficult conversations, and significantly less capable of the empathetic leadership that organizations specifically look for in candidates for senior roles. Sleep-deprived professionals also make subtly worse strategic decisions without realizing it. They choose the safe, familiar solution over the more creative, higher-value one because their risk assessment circuitry is impaired. They avoid the difficult conversation that needs to happen because their emotional reserves are too depleted to navigate conflict productively. They default to short-term thinking because their exhausted prefrontal cortex cannot sustain the cognitive effort required for long-term strategic planning. Protecting your sleep is not a personal health decision that exists separately from your professional ambitions. It is one of the most direct career investments you can make. 8 hours of quality sleep is what allows every other element of this daily framework to function. It is what makes your morning focus possible, your afternoon collaboration productive, and your strategic thinking genuinely original. The 1-week challenge that changes everything. Here is what this framework looks like assembled into a single repeatable daily protocol for the ambitious corporate professional. On Sunday evening, spend 15 minutes identifying the 3 most strategically important contributions you can make in the coming week. Not the most urgent, the most important to your long-term advancement. Each morning, wake up 45 minutes before you strictly need to. No phone, no screen, coffee, quiet, and one question. What is the single most important thing I will accomplish today? In the first 2 hours at the office before opening your email, spend 90 minutes on the high-value task you identified in the morning. Close everything else. Do not apologize for this. In the afternoon, handle collaboration, communication, and administrative work. Before leaving, spend 10 minutes reviewing your day and setting your single intention for tomorrow. In the evening, create a hard boundary between work and recovery. Engage in genuine rest for at least 1 hour. Sleep 8 hours without compromise. This is not a radical protocol. It does not require you to wake up at 4 in the morning or eliminate all leisure from your life. It requires only that you become deliberate about where your best cognitive energy goes each day, and that you protect that allocation with the same conviction that you would protect any other scarce and valuable resource. What promotion committees actually see. When an organization decides to promote someone, they are not reviewing a checklist of completed tasks. They are observing a pattern of behavior over time, and asking a single fundamental question. Does this person already operate at the level we are considering promoting them to? The professionals who consistently answer yes to that question are not always the smartest people in the room. They are the ones who show up every morning with a clear head and a strategic intention. They are the ones who produce visibly superior work because they defend their focus. They are the ones who remain calm and solutions-oriented in high-pressure situations because they are not running on a depleted nervous system. They are the ones who always seem to have time for the important work that nobody else gets to because they have escaped the reactive trap. These qualities are not personality traits. They are not things you either have or do not have. They are the direct output of a daily architecture that most professionals have simply never been taught to build. Your 24 hours are identical to the hours available to the person getting promoted above you. The difference is entirely in how those hours are being spent, protected, and invested. The vault is open. It is time to close it and guard what is inside with everything you have.